Alright everyone, it is Dokkan time again, and today's how to build video is going to be for the possessed Super Saiyan Gohan, the possessed Super Saiyan Trunks, and the possessed Super Saiyan Goten GT. I'm lumping every single one of these guys into the same exact video because honestly, primarily, they don't really have anything special about them that is making it that they require each a different video. I think they all basically have a roughly the same kind of kit, and they all serve the same role. They are still a little bit different here and there, but for the most part, there's no reason to separate them. They're all free-to-play units, so there's no reason to give them 55% builds or anything. You just need to rainbow them. Of course, these are free-to-play units. So by all means, if you don't like them, do it with what you wish. I mean, they're just freaking free to play units. So you can change their hidden potential. You can make multiple copies. It's entirely up to you because they are forever grindable in the Dragon Ball story event. Speaking of, you know what? Before we get into it, if you're new here, my name is Joe Saiyan. I'm a Saiyan bald man and I make Dragon Ball videos. Currently, I'm making mostly Dokkan Battle and Gekishin Squadra based content. So if that sounds good to you, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Hit the hype button if you think it's appropriate, and we'll just kind of get right into it. So before we really jump in, I do want to show you where to get the characters and their medals specifically. Alright, so on the right hand side of the screen, you'll see this whole section right here where I'm going to have my little glove pointer at. Now at the top here, it says Dragon Ball GT Baby Saga. This is the Dragon Ball story that you can go to in your game. It is specifically if you hit the start panel and then you hit Dragon Ball story. It's the very top section of the panel. You go down to Dragon Ball GT and it should be pretty much right there at the top. So this is specifically for the Baby Saga. On stage 2 of that event is where you can grind to acquire copies of Goten specifically. If you go into that same section I just told you about, but go down one, you'll see Baby Saga Final. In these stages, you can go to stage 3 specifically for Gohan, and then on stage 4 you can go specifically for Trunks. And if you need the baby medal specifically to awaken each one of these guys, you'll want to go to stage 6 and grind for that. And if you just want to get medals for each one of them, I would just highly suggest going to stage 2 where every single one of them drops, so you can just grind them all at once. Though I will tell you that each one of the stages, there should be a stage each where one of them drops, but I would just rather grind all of them at once personally. So if you do go into the stages, do keep in mind that I believe there is a effect boost. If you have more GT Heroes units, you can increase the boost. And of course, use your support memories for like Oolong and Bula and the 18 Krillin support memory will boost your chances of drop rates. So now with the how to acquire these units being done and out of the way, let's just go ahead and move on to the breakdown of each of the units. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a breakdown of each unit right off the get-go. Then we'll go over all of their defense numbers, and then we'll go over all of their role tips all at once. So we'll start off with Gohan here. He is a tech unit. Now, I'm not going to go over the leader every time because the leader never changes. The only time the leader will possibly change is maybe between Trunks and the Gohan, probably the Trunks, but Gohan and Goten are basically going to be on the same ones. And the only team I can honestly suggest is straight up the new LR Baby Bros or the STR Baby. That is it. I don't have any other suggestions for other places because you need to be running Corroded Body and Minds to really take effect of this unit. Do you need a full team? Yes and no, but for most likely, this is the only way you're really going to take advantage of these free-to-play units, and that's what I suggest right off the get-go. Now, as far as the leader skill-wise, it's pretty useless, but they do lower AGL-type enemies' attack and defense by 30%. This could be potentially abused in some fashion. Imagine you run a friend and your own, that's 60% lowering of attack and defense. I don't think it's a good idea, but, you know, some people are crazy. Now, super attack, Kamehameha greatly raises attack for 1 turn and raises allies attack by 18% for 3 turns. Now, we have an off-rotational support here at 18%. That's pretty nice. Each one of these guys actually does the same exact super attack effect of raising allies attack by 18% for 3 turns. So it's pretty interesting that you can stack that up, essentially getting up to a crazy level of percentage of extra attack. But at the same time, greatly raising attack only for Gohan really does hamper his defense quite a bit. I don't think he does any decent, crazy levels of damage. I haven't been able to test it, but he is a free-to-play unit, so, you know, you can't expect much. Then again, you know, the Rose clones really did change the playing field a little. Anyways, passive skill is Corroded Body in my category, Tech-type allies keep +3 and defense +30%, or Tech-type allies, excuse me. Attack +30% for allies whose name include baby or possessed. This is back to where I was telling you it's kind of better that you just rock a full baby or, yeah, just baby team, basically. Now, per Corroded Body in my category ally on the team, attack and defense of 50%. When there is an ally whose name includes baby attacking in the same turn, changes key spheres from Tech to STR, attack and defense of 100%, chance of evading enemies' attack and damage reduction rate of 20%, and guards all attacks. I really wish that guard really meant something, but it kind of doesn't, in all honesty. The 20% damage reduction in guard is nice, so I guess it does help a little bit as far as anything goes, but no matter what, these guys are all only going to tank normals at best, and they're going to die on super, so they have to dodge. Now, when attacking with 12 or more key attack and defense of 200%, and as the third attacker in a turn, or for 1 turn from the character's entry turn, launch an additional super attack, 50% chance to dodge, Corroded Body Mind allies, defense +10%, and defense +20%, and damage reduction rate of 5% for allies whose name include baby or possessed. So, pretty interesting ability, I'm not gonna lie. For example, if you did get 2 of these guys on the same rotation on turn 1, that would mean that you could apply a 10% damage reduction from them and a 40% defense boost, 50% defense boost actually. So that's pretty crazy amount of support there. I think as long as you're running all 3 of these guys, you can abuse the crap out of that. I just wish it was off rotation, but that extra 5% might go somewhere. I think it could be very usable. Now, Link skills is just Thirst for Conquest, Coward, GT, Hatred of the Saiyan, Super Saiyan, Kamehameha, and Shattering the Limit. So, kind of like the LR Baby Bros and STR Baby, of course, you kind of just want more possessed/baby units to be linking up with. That's just how they're designed. It's very satisfying to get them all up there and linked up with each other. I think it helps out quite a bit. The interesting thing is this AGL Baby has not awakened yet. And I feel like it's going to happen pretty soon because it's just, you know, it just lines up, you know, it's just bound to happen kind of a thing. So, this GT Trunks doesn't exist. So yeah, I just think keeping them with baby units is probably the best way to go about that. Now, if we move on to Goten, Goten is going to be similar, but instead of his leader skill lowering AGL types, he lowers intelligence type enemies attack and defense by 30%. Once again, something maybe you can abuse, who's to say. It's just something you should probably be aware of. Now, super attack, Kamehameha, raise attack and defense, and then raise allies attack by 18% for 3 turns. So once again, we have the off-rotational support here on the super, but this Goten actually raises his defense on super, which probably will make a big difference, but we'll have to wait and see until we see the defense numbers. Now, these kits are going to be virtually the same minus a couple different things. So in this case, the only difference between Goten and Gohan is that instead of physical type allies getting key +3, or instead of tech, it's physical. Basically, the typing changes according wise. And the orb changing also will change as well. So when there's an ally whose name includes baby on the attacking turn, you actually change physical key spheres to STR key spheres. You'll notice that it's always changing us to STR key spheres, and that's because the new STR baby came out, and it's just kind of a hint/Easter egg note of them supporting baby and giving him their energy. Now, attack and defense 100%, and chance of evading enemies' attack and damage reduction rate of 20%, and guards all attacks. Now, when attacking with 12 or more key attack and defense at 200%, and as the third attacker or for one turn from the character's turn, launch an additional super, 50% chance to dodge, and corroded body and mind category allies attack and defense at 10%, and attack and defense of 20%, and chance of evading enemies' attack by 5% for allies whose name include baby or possessed. Now, theoretically, this should also affect this Goten, which means this Goten should have a 75% chance to technically dodge, which is very good, but he has to be in slot 3, technically speaking, no matter what, aside from his first appearance. I really do like the fact that he does have this 5% dodge chance. If we go back and look at Gohan, Gohan's effect is a little bit different, and he gives 5% damage reduction rate instead. So they do vary just a little bit between each other. I think a lot of people are going to like Goten more just because he raises attack and defense, and he gives dodge chance. Everybody loves dodge chance. People are dodge fiends. But anyways, his link skills are going to be the exact same as Gohan's, as you can see. Yep, same exact ones, thankfully. Now his link partners are going to be once again the same, and he will perfectly link with the Gohan here, though you should never do that, as they should always be floating. Essentially, when you're using these 3 free-to-play units, they are the designated floaters. So any fight that is locking characters to their slots is the worst nightmare to be running these characters in, so be very aware of that. But otherwise, yeah, once again, just link with other baby possessed characters and you should be pretty much good on that matter. Now we'll go finally over to the possessed Trunks, which, yes, in my personal opinion, is better than the new banner unit one. Obviously, to each their own. But anyways, he lowers tech type enemies attack and defense by 30% for the leader skill. Once again, if you want to try and abuse that, entirely up to you. Now, he greatly raises his defense for 1 turn instead of the others, and raises allies' attack by 18% for 3 turns. Once again, this is a crazy amount of buffing. It is huge, actually. You don't really think about it, but because they're all floating, essentially, it is a 54% increase to all allies, other than themselves, of course. So every unit getting 54% extra attack at all points of time is huge. It is absolutely huge. Now, of course, each one of them is only getting 36%, but that's not the point. The point is that this is ginormous, and it's even bigger when you think about the fact that if they get additionals going off, that could increase it even more so. Now, the only unfortunate thing here is like, these guys do need to dodge. They are dodge or die units. They can tank normals at best. And they're just going to get you killed if they take a super, no matter what level of content you really go into, in all given honesty. But, you know, to each their own. Maybe you want to be a little adventurous and you want to give them a little bit more additional to increase the damage ratio. But I do think there's a huge amount of, like, crazy attack buffing that can go on with this team now because of this off-rotational support of 18% attack between all 3 of them. Now, basic effects is corroded body and mind category or intelligence type allies keep +3 and defense +30%. Attack +30% for all allies, including baby or possessed. Per corroded body and mind on the team, attack and defense 50%. And when there's an ally whose name includes baby attacking in the turn, change key spheres to STR, attack and defense to 100%, and chance of evading enemies' attack and damage reduction rate of 20%. Guards all attacks when attacking with 12 or more key attack and defense at 200%. And as the third attacker in a turn, launch an additional super attack, 50% chance of evading attack, and corroded body and mind category allies attack +20%, attack +30%, and chance of performing critical hit +10% for allies who the name include baby or possessed. Wow, just a whole lot of craziness there. So it's very unlikely that you'll go through rotations where you actually don't kill the boss all the time. So that is something to keep in mind, that you do need to get the 18 key, like you do have to, not the 18 key, you do have to get the super attack to go off. So on the turns that you don't actually kill the enemy, you essentially do have a guaranteed double super, which means that's a 36% increase no matter what. So if you take into account of 2 turns in a row where you get 36% increase, that means that you'll have a 72% attack for all allies, except themselves, of course. So 72 is crazy. There is just an absurd level of damage increase that you can apply to all of these guys, and it's actually crazy to me. Now, this is one of those times where, like, if you go back and look at my builds for the LR Baby boys, the intelligence ones up there, you'll know that I did not suggest giving crit to these guys right here. I didn't suggest giving them crit. I honestly think that there is a validity to be giving them crit if you only ran them on this specific team, only because of the potential damage increase. But at the same time, I still don't suggest crit on these guys. It's just not what they're meant for. As a general use of the unit, the crit just doesn't apply to them, in my personal opinion. But once again, to each their own, you can choose to use the unit however you choose. But I do think because of the increase of damage you can potentially have right now at the time of recording between all three of these free-to-play units, you could see some very big increased damage on these guys. But I have to test it. Somebody down in the comments, please go test it if you pulled this new unit. See if his damage goes up a crazy amount. I would love to hear the feedback on that. Now, we have gone through each one of these characters. They all basically essentially have the exact same kit, minus their slot 3 ability, giving damage reduction or dodge specifically, or critical chance. Each one of them giving a little bit of a different buff, but essentially buffing the crap out of baby/possessed allies. Very good synergy. I'm loving it. McDonald's me up with this. But with all that being said, let's just go ahead and move on and look at defense numbers. All right, so we're going to look at the defense numbers for all three of these guys. Compliments of Blood Raven. Appreciate you, dude. Thank you very much. So as far as Gohan Goten goes specifically, ally buff support, slot 3, 40% support, Thirst for Conquest, and GT being active, you can, on a double super specifically, get up to 1.4 million defense, and on a triple up to 1.7 million defense. As I said before, you really do need to dodge or die with these guys. They really do need to dodge. They can tank very bare minimum of normals, and with a little bit of the damage reduction and guard applied, they can probably tank some little bit of increase I'd have to do the math, but probably about 2 million plus you can tank. So normal wise, they should be for the most part fine. It still should be very wary, of course, but I think you should be generally fine on normals. They just 100% are dodge or die. And now Gohan is the same, and as I said before, he does have this issue where he doesn't get any defense on super, so whatever he gets out of there, that's all he gets, man. So it's pretty rough on that, unfortunately. Even with all the ally buffs, you're still sitting at only below 1 million defense. So when you're using Gohan, be very careful, because he is the biggest liability here. You might have a little bit of damage reduction in guard, and you might have 70% chance to dodge, but it is very likely this guy could get you caught with this low amount of defense. It is very scary to be trying to use Gohan specifically. But let's go take a look at Trunks. So Trunks here with support of all ally buffs, slot 3, and he gets a double super, he'll be at 1.8 million defense, and a triple would be at 2.2 million defense. So Trunks here is the best defensively of all three of them, and then Goten is next after that, and purely it's just straight up because he greatly raises defense on super. So huge amount of good defensibility with this Trunks. This Trunks is far and wide just technically better than the other one, only because he's not trapped to slot 3. He's in a safe spot of slot 3. He's supporting. He's got a huge amount of dodge chance. He's just much better than the AGL banner unit, in my personal opinion, or at least more viable in my personal opinion. But anyways, go ahead and go follow Blood Raven if you haven't for some defense calculations. With all that being said, we're going to go ahead and finally start moving on to the build suggestions here. It's going to be pretty much the same across the board for Gohan. we're going in with full dodge, put the rest into additional, and that's just going to play the same for every single one of them. Now, every single one of them is going to change just a little bit at a time here. Each one of them is going to have gold and silver slots being level 5 dodges, and level 2 bronzes being dodge as well. Now, Gohan and Goten are both going to be sitting at the level 27 dodge point, and that's because they are a physical and a tech type unit, so they don't innately have dodge built in, so they can get up to a natural level 15, and with the equipment up to a level 27. Now Goten, because he's a physical type, already starts off with a level 5 additional, so with the extra nodes you can get up to a level 11 additional with him, which is very nice, and I'm honestly happy that he's a physical type. But with Trunks is already innately a intelligence type, so he already has an extra level 5 dodge in him, so he technically has the highest chance to dodge out of all of these guys, and with full equipment usage you can get up to a level 32 dodge, and that's what I suggest. And the last 2 nodes I would just suggest additional. There's no reason to give these guys crit. They're not going to do enough damage. I mean, yes, their super attacks can buff each other to do some damage, but I still don't think there's any viable reason to give them crit over additional to increase their defensibility, or to increase the support for the rotations. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for the build suggestions. After that, we're just going to go ahead and move on to the roll tips. The roll tips are all going to be the same for all 3 of these guys, as you can see. Regardless of it, they partner best with themselves, but primarily Baby Vegeta, of course, and then the LR Baby Bros, of course, as a leader and a partner. I didn't put them down there, I apologize. The hard part for me was, for partnering-wise, was that the LR Baby Bros is a slot 1 unit, and these guys are all slot 3 units. So no matter what, these guys should just never be linking up with each other. The only time they actually would link up with each other is literally turn 1 appearance, and that is it, because they should always be floated. Otherwise, their only partner, viably wise, should just be Baby Vegeta, STR Baby Vegeta, and that is it. No one else. But yeah, each one of them slot 3, no matter what. I do not suggest putting them in any other slot, otherwise they just essentially lose literally their entire passive, and I think that's pretty self-explanatory in that they're all support type characters. So I don't like going over like 3 different units, quote unquote, but I mean, I do like these guys. I think they're all very good and fun to use, and I do look forward to utilizing their teams. And even at the end of the day, if they don't end up being useful, at the very least you can use them in Battlefield / Ultimate Clash or something. So anyways, guys, do let me know what build suggestions you're going to go with. Are you just going to go full dodge, or are you going to go full additional to try and take advantage of that extra 18% increase to attack for 3 turns? It's pretty crazy the amount of damage you could potentially increase with this team. I really do look forward to a lot of crazy clips people are going to be posting. So let me know what teams you use. How many are you going to make? Any extra dupes of these guys? Are you going to make like a full additional build and a full dodge build of these guys? I know I am. Anyways, everyone, thank you for watching. I hope you have a good day and a good night.